Pod. Cast 7. Can you make a clapping noise, please? That's a really good one. Alright. Are you ready for today?
Yep.
Hey, Lance, can you give us the intro?
Hi, I'm Lance. Welcome to the Gopher podcast. This is episode 7. I'm Lance. I'm Felix.
I'm Michael. How's everyone doing this morning?
Well, I'm flying out to Boston soon. How about you guys? Well, Lance, I'm right here. I'm going to class in a little bit.
That's really fun. Why are you going to Boston, Lance?
Visiting family, weed.
Whoa.
No, it's legal in Massachusetts.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty insane. He's going to Boston?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Why don't you ask me? It's right here.
Lance, you going to Boston?
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty insane. I've never been.
Yeah.
You like it in Boston?
Boston, yeah, it's great. We got everything. We got the Red Sox. We got the Patriots.
Yeah, that's everything.
Yup. Oh, Gillette.
That's like part of the Patriots, but okay.
I don't. They're a separate company, right?
Oh, I thought you meant Gillette Stadium.
Which is owned by the Gillette Shaving Company.
They're based in Boston?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were based
Yeah.
in Boston. I thought you were just
Yeah.
saying Gillette as in Gillette Stadium.
No.
I only know football things. I don't know.
That's fair. That's all.
I don't know where that deodorant company happens to be based
Well,
out
I'll
of.
try to contextualize everything for you in terms of football.
That would be kind of helpful, maybe. So I didn't create an outline for today's podcast, though I did think of one talking point.
Sure there.
So do you want to hit this talking point? I'll talk about something that you don't know anything about, and then you'll talk about something I don't know anything about. We can play rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Not 2 out of 3, just once, to see who goes first.
You can go first. Got him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I figured that we'd both review something.
Mm-hmm.
You'd review something I haven't seen, and I'd review something you haven't seen.
All right.
You haven't seen the season 3 of Big Mouth,
No, I'm not.
and I feel like probably enough people have probably watched it by now. And you haven't seen. I mean, I haven't seen.
You haven't seen the boys.
I haven't seen The Boys. That's a good one. I was gonna say the beginning couple episodes of. Come on, Dr. Manhattan. Just
Oh, Watchmen?
Watchmen, yeah. So
All
if
right.
you can talk about The Boys or Watchmen, you can talk about anything that I haven't seen.
I guess I knew Watchmen.
Don't have to. That was just the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do it.
But you want me to start off with Big
Yeah,
Mouth?
tell us about Big Mouth. What
Well-
do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Worth seeing, not worth seeing?
Okay. I'll start off by giving a quick synopsis of the show. It is a show that is animated, and it follows a group of middle schoolers through their hormonal stages of life. And in this, they each are granted a hormone monster that makes it very comedic and very funny and very open about what happens to teenage boys and girls at that age. And I find it to be a very honest show about that period of time in any child's life, and it's absolutely worth seeing. It was very funny for season 3. If you haven't seen it yet, it's very easy to binge. It's about 20 minutes an episode, and they're about, I think, 10 episodes a season. I don't know how in-depth you want me to get with this. I didn't know how in-depth I wanted to get with this initially.
Go until you can't no more.
Actually, I have another idea. So, during this portion of, we're going like off the top of our heads, you're going to ask me questions about the show, in which I'll ask you questions about the shows that you want to talk about.
I figured that would happen naturally.
Okay, so ask me more questions.
I mean,
I just gave you a synopsis, so
I laid out my questions at the top.
what do I like about it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the good question.
Yeah, no problem.
What do I like about Big Mouth? I like
You like how honest it is. What don't you like about it?
What don't I like about it? Oh, that's actually a good question. That's a way better question than what I like about it. What don't I like about Big Mouth? I feel like... I really like this show. It's hard to come up with something that I don't like. This is hard. This is not an easy thing for me to do. I don't like that it's bingeable. Because then you watch all of it in a day, and then you have to just wait a year before the next season comes out.
That's a problem with binging.
So, I don't like that. That's maybe like weekly. I'd rather wait a week in between episodes and have it for like an entire 2 months.
Yep, and then you're only waiting, I guess, 10 months for the next season.
8 months.
It's 12 months in a year. It's 2 months. Then.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's alright.
We're film majors.
It's okay.
But don't worry, he's a marketing major.
Math.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, what else I ask you? Yeah, well, why should people watch it? Because you said why you liked it. Why would other people like it?
I actually think, if you want to, if you had, really awkward and embarrassing experiences in middle school, this is a great show for you to watch. Awkward and embarrassing because that's all this show's about, is all those moments, and it really humanizes them, and it doesn't make fun of those moments. I would say that's pretty impressive, throughout the show. Mm-hmm. That they make fun of these moments, but because everyone has them, not because any singular person goes through this. I would say the show gets a little too wacky at times. Mm-hmm. I would say they get away from, what's going on. Some of the jokes, I don't find funny sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't laugh at every single joke. It's not hilarious all the way through. Mm-hmm. I just like the show for just more or less being honest, but it does definitely embellish things, but that's for, dramatic reasons. So, it's also an animated TV show, so you just kind of have to expect that going in.
Sure.
It's not what actually happened to you in middle school. It's just oh, here's some ideas floating around. Here are more or less concepts. This is what children these ages go through. Yeah, I would say some people would be more related to the show than, me, because, the main character is Jewish, and they make fun of that sometimes. I think all of the main characters are Jewish, actually.
Interesting.
But it's just because the creators are Jewish, and they're just more or less recounting stories that they've had. It's because I watched an interview where they're like, oh, yeah, that actually happened to us. So I'm just so there's some jokes that maybe I wouldn't understand because I'm not Jewish.
Yeah.
But I guess that's fine. They're not, being, anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
They're just poking fun at, general topics that anyone would poke fun at. So
in summation, you're saying all Jews would like this show. Got it.
No. But maybe. No, not all Jews would like the show. Some of these Jews... I'm not.
If you're an Orthodox rabbi, you most likely are not the right demographic for this show.
That is true. That really is true.
Shalom, may you go in peace.
How about this? The people that wrote the show grew up Jewish. I don't know what they are now.
Let's just move past this. Let's just leave this in the past.
I didn't know what I was talking about.
It was fine at first. We were flirting with a funny line, but now we're getting closer and closer to the point of no return. Let's just next topic.
Next topic?
Yeah.
So...
who's your favorite character?
My favorite character... What was that?
I saw something on my phone.
You have somewhere else to be?
You have a flash sale for an app which just puts watch faces on my e-watch. Oh...
That's pretty insane.
Artificial scarcity.
It's insane that people can sell a piece of, information. I'm talking about, coded information. So, if you
Any paid application.
Any paid application. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
That's not an actual, thing that you can hold. You're able to sell it. What the hell is that? That's an alarm. Well, that sucks. Well, I don't know what to do now. We're gonna have 2 recordings. Yeah, just don't pause this one. There you go. So we got quiet there for a second. I'm sorry.
That was a halfway marker in the show. That's what that was.
Was it really? How long have we been talking?
No, your alarm just went off at like 9.5 minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, favorite character.
My favorite character is Nick Kroll's character. Because he's an asshole.
He's like half the characters.
Oh, that's true. I would say his main character.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Because he's an asshole. And an asshole throughout the entire show. And I just think, like, it's just funny. It's just really funny. He's the one that probably is at the heart of most of the problems that happen within the show.
Cool.
And I think his character is good at breeding conflict, but not good at solving conflict.
Sure.
And that's usually hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Because any characters like that are generally useless. Like, not in a sense in the story. They're very vital to the story.
Yeah.
Just to the other characters, they might be useless.
But see, if you have characters who are better than them, they can pick up the weight. And you can just have that guy be funny nonstop.
Yeah, and he usually is funny nonstop. Or you just get annoyed with him because he's such an asshole.
Yeah.
Either or, you gotta just respect that character for being an asshole.
If you're a good enough creator, you'll know when to pull back a little bit and then when to power straight on through.
Yeah, I would say that character just powers straight. There is an episode where he has to pretend to be an ally to the feminist movement.
Okay.
It's because all the girls in the school are trying to take back the word slut.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls all the girls sluts. And then they're like, "You can't say that." He's like, "But you guys were calling yourselves that." And it's just it's really funny because it shows how confusing some of that stuff can be. Mm-hmm. But clearly you should never call a girl a slut.
Sure.
But he's just but in this situation, shouldn't I have done that? And then people are like, no.
Hey, he raises good moral questions.
He does raise good moral questions. And I just thought that was pretty funny. I enjoyed that part of the show.
Cool.
That was a good episode. And also they have an episode where they go to Florida and they explain how awful Florida is. And it's a good episode.
Oh yeah, baby. Where are they based originally?
Where are they based originally?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. Okay. They're just not in Florida. They just make fun of Florida constantly. I don't know if that's an SNL thing or just a thing.
Actually, yeah, people just make fun of Florida, yeah.
Florida's really easy to make fun of. We live in Florida.
Yeah, were they visiting their Jewish grandparents?
Yes, yes they were.
Yeah.
I don't know why you said Jewish, but they're just visiting grandparents.
Oh, there's a lot of Jewish people in Florida. Nothing wrong with that.
He had a room.
Did they go to Boca Raton?
What?
Boca Raton? Is that where they went?
No.
Okay.
No, they went to I think Sun City, Florida, or something. A retirement place.
Okay, that's actually nearby to Orlando.
No, it's actually they went to Lakeland. Sorry, they went to Lakeland, Florida. Yeah, no, that is very close to Orlando. I don't know why it's important to us, but it is very close to Orlando. No, they had this whole thing where his grandfather just had his no one could sleep on his bed because it was for his newspapers, and he had just stacks of newspapers in his room.
That's pretty funny.
I was like, that is pretty funny. That's a good joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just no one sleeps on my bed. That's for the newspapers. And then
waiting to read the articles. Don't touch my papers. Don't touch my papers.
It kind of sounds like Bernie Sanders right there.
I do.
I just got an ad.
I do a decent Bernie. Well, any old Jewish man, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
They all sound the same.
If they're from New York.
That's true. Maybe. I don't know if it's true. I've never been to New York.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I've never been to New York. I can't say that. When I do go to New York, I'll be able to say things like that. I saw an ad for Bernie Sanders' campaign.
Yeah.
And now I'm realizing that it's starting again.
It is starting again.
And I don't like that.
Got a whole year ahead of us, baby.
Are you guys ready for the 2020 election? Are you ready for the 2020 election?
Comment yes or kill yourself, you liberal cuck.
Yeah.
Let us know how you feel about this.
Let us know.
I'm never ready for any election. 3 years of office is not enough time just to go out campaigning again. But then again, if you do more than 4 years of a term, then that's just far too long.
Really? Mm-hmm. So it's 4 is a happy medium?
I guess the best we're gonna get.
Enough. 3's not enough. Okay, but I have a question. Donald Trump's gonna start campaigning. Okay. This could go for any president. Any president who just finished their first term is now gonna start campaigning for their second term, and that takes away a lot from like just being the president.
Mm.
Should presidents be allowed to run again?
Yeah.
It's because they spent, or should there be some sort of like cap on like how much time they can put towards their election? Especially since like the presidency is already a hard job.
People have talked about putting hard cap on campaign spending. I think if you're gonna president, you can balance both. It's difficult, and there are presidents in the past who have successfully balanced both and done their jobs as well as campaign as to why they should keep doing it.
Yeah.
I know in the past there are some presidents who did not do a great job, and some who just did not run again. Like Gerald Ford became president due to his boss's resignation. Then he did not become president, most likely through election because he gave his former boss a complete pardon, something no one wanted, and something he thought, to his credit, would help heal the country. But in fact, just politicize and polarize each end even more so.
So he didn't run for re-election.
Actually, it did. Let me try. I think he did run,
Maybe
but
he
he got
did.
slaughtered.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you do something that all of America doesn't like.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. How are your classes going? I talked to Patty yesterday. I talked to him about his classes. How are your classes going?
They're fine.
They're fine?
Yeah, just a lot of work.
A lot of work.
You know, powering through. Also, he did not get slaughtered as I thought. He just lost narrowly to Jimmy Carter.
Really?
Hmm?
Jimmy Carter won.
Hmm?
The man from Georgia.
Man from Georgia, peanut farmer.
Peanut farmer.
Did more as post-president than he did as a sitting president.
That's true. People said he did nothing as a president. Mm-hmm. I agree with those people. When I say that, I mean my history teacher from high school.
Yeah. They'll say he was dealt a bad hand coming out of, the Vietnam War.
Yeah. He's the one after Nixon, right? No.
It was forward for 2 years.
Forward for 2 years.
So pretty much
Nixon.
he was the one after Nixon.
Yeah. Nixon was a fun president.
Yeah.
He's talked about a lot today. He's really made his...
He was entertaining.
He was an entertaining president. Not because of anything that he acted. Like, if he was on television, he was entertaining. It's just who he was as a person.
Yeah.
And what he did.
I'm not a crook. Oh.
That's his Richard Nixon. Everyone applaud. No. We'll add it in.
What is everyone applauding?
Okay. Oh, that's everyone applauding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have lots of viewers. How is this? Like, how is it that we already have millions of viewers?
You tell me, man. You tell me.
I just think it's amazing that all you guys are out there supporting us.
All y'all are out there.
All y'all are out there supporting us, and I appreciate that greatly.
Mucho preach.
Mucho preach. I think David listens to all of our podcasts.
Hell yeah. David, this is for you.
This is for you.
David Corrigan. Orlando, Florida.
Actually, this is a good test. 18 minutes and 40 seconds in. David, if you did listen to this, text me. Tell me what you think.
If you're a real fan, you'll tell us what we said at this point. French onion soup. That's the code, David. That's the code. If you're listening, if you have listened, or you've just listened to the part in which I say French onion soup, then let anyone in the house know that we said French onion soup.
You can let anyone in the house know that. You don't have to say that you got it from this podcast. Just say, Michael and Felix think French onion soup.
That's it?
That's it. I'm so glad we did that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so tell me about Watchmen.
Oh boy, Watchmen. The comic's fantastic. I'm part of the half of the audience that enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
And so I figured, yeah, hell yeah, I'll sit down and watch the show Watchmen. And it's not so much that I don't like it. I just know the best way I can tell people to temper their expectations for the show is to go in expecting, I guess, a template of Watchmen, but not Watchmen directly. As in, there's a lot of ideas and themes that fit into the show, masked as something else. There's characters from this previous medium and property that have done these things, acted in a certain way, and now there's a new set of characters that are committing their actions to different motivations and different themes, and it's very specific, not niche, I'll say, because, spoiler, the show's about racism in America, and it's about fighting, I guess, social injustice, as corny and off-putting as that may sound. And it's led by Regina King, an African-American actress who's pretty great. All the performances are great in the show. It feels the show runs pretty slow. And if you're waiting for big climactic moments to keep you on the edge of your seat, there's not so much that as there are tension-building moments.
It's like it's like stretching a wire or like, you know, the violin string, right?
Yeah.
And then like it never breaks.
Yeah.
Is that good or bad? Is it impressive or is it sad? Or is it like at first impressive, but then later it's just sad?
For me, the stakes are not big enough to the point where I'm enthralled by the tension building moments that sort of ease out after they're settled.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just, well, this happened, and I guess it was unique, and I enjoyed how it occurred.
Yes.
But it's not so much what I wanted to happen.
Okay, so I have another topic of explanation, or a topic we can explore.
Mm-hmm.
But just so we continue talking about Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
So is it really just like more or less like a footprint of what like the Watchmen comics is, or like is it something else entirely? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not actually.
Yeah, it takes a worn down template of what the comic and movie were, and kind of applies its own scope to it. Sure. And there are Watchmen elements such as Jeremy Irons playing Adrian Veidt Ozymandias. Sorry, I just got something in my throat.
You're good.
Yeah,
you
sure,
want me to get your water?
Huh?
You want me to get your water?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
You can keep talking to the audience.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so there are nuggets of Watchmen in the show. Specifically, Jeremy Irons is Ozymandias. And his character as a whole is most deeply tied, obviously, to what happened in the original Watchmen comic and movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not so much that he orchestrated everything. It's the fact that he's making direct reference to other characters. And right now, his character is doing something that is very much centered around another character, Dr. Manhattan. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I guess how everything else factors into that, too. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Lance. I'm glad you agree. Next topic of discussion. I do. It sounds like an interesting show, although I'm not going to watch it. I'm not a huge fan of the Watchmen series. I know you're a much bigger fan than I am.
Yeah.
Do you think... Actually, I do have one more question about the Watchmen series.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with maybe like having some sort of like social problem at the forefront of your show. There's nothing wrong with making your show like maybe even a metaphor for that problem. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the problem of racism actually takes away from this show's success? Do you think that maybe they should be focusing on more like Watchmen elements rather than like racism in America?
I would rather they focus on more Watchmen elements.
Okay.
And I think
there's nothing wrong with having like, hey, racism is bad, but here's like the like intricacies of that problem.
Because they're folks are living in a post apocalypse state, and that the world's trying to recover.
Yeah. And
I think if they include the 7th Cavalry, the White Supremacy Brigade, packaged into an America consumed by rampant drug abuse, as well as higher. Well, they're saying now because the police state is much more martial that the crime rates are lower. But if you had more social issues such as that, homelessness, drug abuse, white supremacy, while focusing on the Watchmen aspect, and not necessarily putting all the rest of the stuff on the back burner, but having there being a constant presence saying, wow, what Agent Vay did not help the world whatsoever, in fact made it 10 times worse, that really underscore how important heinous what he did was, as well as why these people are either, if they refocus the show, out to get him and the parties remaining that were involved, or trying to put the pieces back together.
How likely is it that they refocus the show?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's fun.
Yeah, like a show like BoJack Horseman focuses a lot on mental illness, but it still rounds out the rest of the story with characters and their ideas and motivations specific to them and the lore of the show. And I think it does it really great.
Yeah.
Such as this past season, not season 6, I haven't seen season 6 part 1 yet, but season 5, there's a moment that focuses on the Me Too movement that's really well done, very dark, and was really well done. And I think, wow, this isn't just shoehorned in there, this is actually what the character would do if he was pushed to this limit. I think it's really neat.
I watched Moonlight last night, and this is just to piggyback off of what you just said. Like, obviously, the main character in Moonlight is gay, and he has his problems with dealing with that specifically.
Yeah.
However, like, so obviously it's a main theme in the entire movie.
Yeah.
But it more or less is just like the cause for a whole lot of other bad things that happen in his life. And, or not even just a cause, it's like, it really indicates how he would react to a lot of the bad things that happens in his life. And like, if you took the aspect of him being gay out of it, you would just immediately think that there'd be another reason as to why he reacts this way. And not necessarily whether the fact he's gay or not really isn't important to the actions of the story. They're just important to the character himself.
Yeah, I think Moonlight's not about, and a lot of people, like,
it's about
conservative, older demographics didn't like the movie, which I understand for obvious reasons.
Wait, you're saying older demographics didn't like the movie?
Yeah, to some degree.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not everyone, obviously, but, the more conservative-leaning older people in the country. And I think Moonlight's less about just being gay, and rather about this character someone dealing with their sexuality in a very unaccepting environment. And it was actually my favorite movie that year.
It's my favorite movie of that year too.
Yeah, this year La La Land came out.
Yeah, I like it more than La La Land.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Emma Stone, but not that you're listening. But I just know that you freaked out when Moonlight won instead of you.
Yeah.
Even though you thought you'd won. But just to keep talking about Moonlight for a second. Yeah, the movie isn't about like what it means to be gay in this society. It's really talking about like a man having an identity crisis. My favorite moment in the entire film is when I'm spoiling the movie for people that haven't seen it. Although I do think like you can spoil this movie and like it'd still be just as good if you watch it.
Yeah.
Is when he goes back to Florida and Miami, and he sits down in a diner to talk to his friend that he hasn't seen in like a decade.
Yeah.
And he says, so what you doing? What are you doing? I haven't seen in like 10 years. And he's just like, for real? And he's like, yeah, what are you doing? He says, I'm trapping. And the one guy's like, nuh-uh. And trapping is just selling drugs.
Yeah, selling drugs, living a slumlord lifestyle.
Yeah. And the one guy's just like, nuh-uh, you ain't trapping. And whatever. And he's just like, that's not who you are. In which the main character responds with, how the hell do you know who I am?
How do you know I am?
And I feel like that was a really good moment of like dramatic irony.
Just so you guys know, he was in the decade before, he got kicked out for getting into a fight at school, a real bloody fight, for picking on or for fighting with one of his bullies, and then he smashed a chair over his head. And he got kicked out of school, and him and his mother moved to Georgia. And he started selling drugs in Atlanta.
Anyway, so he goes back to the man that was like his first is that like would be like his first time having sex, like the person he lost his virginity to? Like it looks like it was just like a hand job or something. But like I don't know how to explain that.
First and only sexual encounter.
It was his first and only sexual encounter. So anyway, he sees this man a decade later, in which the man tells him, that's not who you are. And his response to that is, how the hell do you know who I am? The reason why I really liked that moment is because it's built up throughout the entire movie. And it's a really good piece of dramatic irony, is because the main character does not even know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just funny that he would claim that someone else doesn't know who he is when he himself doesn't know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
That moment just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately gasped when he said that. It's a really good movie. I would 10 out of 10 would watch that film. I do have another topic. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
So lots of people who do podcasts or do shows or do sketches sometimes say things that are regrettable. And a lot of times they come out and say, or not even just regrettable, just things that people might disagree with, and just overall the bad side of getting the being out in this media culture. And some creators respond to this by saying, "Oh, well, I'm just a character. That's why I said that. It's just satire. It's just comedy, or it's just it's not actually what I think."
Right.
How do you feel about that response to negative reactions?
I think if that information is laid out and made clear and present prior to you beginning any piece of content or media, then I feel like it's acceptable. Although if you're just saying it reactionarily to outcries from people, and there's no clear and present evidence of you being satirical, I think it's just a cop-out and you're just trying to find an easy way out. And assuming you can hide behind a new layer you just added to your art that wasn't there prior to.
Yeah. The only reason why I brought this up was because, the election is coming around.
Yeah.
And so lots of candidates would say something, that maybe they're just oh, well, I didn't mean that. What I meant was this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's whatever. This guy told me to say it anyways.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get votes. It's just what it takes to get votes in this country. And as well, I also thought about CinemaSins guy, just because I was he's an easy example for this kind of weird, satirical.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna name any names, but he's who I thought of too.
Okay, well, it was just a weird topic that I brought up. It's just I definitely want to pride ourselves on this podcast for just being honest.
Yeah,
but not in the sense that we're honest. We are ourselves. This is exactly who we are. We don't play characters, which is nice.
Always is what we believe. Now our beliefs might change over time.
Our beliefs might change over
and
time.
They probably will. They're just currently, this is what we believe.
This is what we believe. And so with that, I would like to tell you guys.
In 2 weeks, though, I'm definitely gonna talk the shit about Pokemon.
In 2 weeks, he's gonna talk about Pokemon. It's because that's who he is. So you go out there and you find yourself and you be that person.
You gotta be the very best.
The very best of you. Which does not mean you have to be the best out of everybody. You just have to be the best yourself. Set a good, step forward. Or, as other people might say, always fail forward.
Yeah.
If you do something wrong, be a good person at this point.
You gotta be the very best anyone ever was. Well, anyone has to be you. So, no one ever was. No you ever was.
Exactly.
Other Pokemon lines.
Gotta catch them all. You really have to catch them all.
Ash Ketchum.
Ash
Ketchum's nuts. Oh, you got him. All right, folks. That's the podcast. I'm Felix.
I'm Michael. And have a wonderful week.
Felix, that was so funny.